So Brent, you know the multiple choice questions that we used to have in elementary school, where they'd have like the bubble sheets, and you'd have like A, B, C, D, maybe E, and you'd have to color in the right, or just put your pencil in the right answer.
Yeah, and inside that bubble, you got to make sure your pencil, the marking stays within that bubble.
Yeah, well, I thought, and again, like, just for the audience here that's going to be watching this back, I just want them to know that we haven't rehearsed this. You have no idea what I'm going to say, so this is an off the cuff response. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell you that I'm going to ask you a question, and it's going to be, I think, a fairly simple multiple choice questions, because there's only going to be two answers. So it's going to be, I'm going to give you an A and I'm going to give you a B. Okay? I'm going to give you, there's an A response and a B response, and I want you to tell me what you think the correct answer is. And I should say as well, I'm not asking this as a trick question.
Right.
This is a legitimate question. It's not a trick question. I'm not giving you some funny business or anything like that. It's a legitimate question. There's an A response and a B response, and I just want to know what your B response, or what your response is, whether it be A or B. Okay, so here's my question. So option A. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Get your thinking cap on.
Yeah, okay.
Your thinking cap's on. Okay.
Thinking cap's on.
So option A is, the sky is blue. That's option A.
Okay.
Option B is the sky is green. So there's only two options.
Okay.
So of those two options, you have A, the sky is blue. B, the sky is green. What is your answer? Is the sky blue or is the sky green?
The sky is technically blue. However, you know what? I'm going to go with green.
Well, again, it's not a trick. This is not a trick question, Brent.
No.
I'm not posing a trick question.
No.
If you asked Sonia, or if you asked anybody, and you said option A is the sky is blue, or option B, the sky is green, what would be the common response?
Well, the common response would be the sky is blue. The reason why I say the sky would be green is that if there was like a solar aurora, right? You get all this color.
Wow, I mean,
right? So, but in theory, it would be the sky is blue because the sky is blue, right? It's like I'm wearing blue. Why people watch the podcast? He wears blue. Why? Because I like blue. That's one of my favorite colors, and that's why I wear it.
Now that you've given your answer that the sky is blue, how do you know that answer is correct? Like, how would you verify that as a correct answer, that the sky is blue?
I would say that the sky is blue because it's the reflection from your retina that actually reflects the actual color, what you're seeing. Because in technical terms, the sky apparently can be any color, I guess, based on when there's no pollution. But I guess that's what we see. We see blue because that's the color of blue. The water can be blue too.
That's right.
In different
areas. So if you asked Sonia what color the sky is, what would her answer be? Well, you can ask her, but I mean, you could pretty confidently say that what her answer would be.
Yeah,
blue.
Blue.
And why do you say it's blue though?
Because that's what I see.
Because that's what you see, and that's what I see too.
Yeah, and if you were to ask her parents, what would their answer be?
Same thing.
Yeah,
same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we were to ask anybody in the States, or like if we were to randomly ask 100 strangers, is the sky blue or green? What would their answer be? If we asked 100 people,
I would say
what would be the predominantly answer that they would give?
Probably 99.9% that people would probably say blue.
At least that, I would say, right?
At least that, or at least, yeah.
At least that. So now I'm gonna just to verify that you're comfortable with your response.
Yes.
That the sky is blue. I'm gonna ask the question slightly differently.
Okay.
It's kind of the same kind of question, but a little bit different. So again, it's a multiple choice, but it's an easy multiple choice because there's only two. There's only two answers, or there's only two responses. So you got your thinking cap on again, okay? So again, it's kind of the same question, but a little bit different. I just got a different bend on it, just to verify, just to give a verification to your first answer. Okay, so
right.
So the first question that I'm going to ask you is, A, the grass is green, or B, the grass is blue. What is your answer there? The grass is green or the grass is blue?
The grass is green.
And why do you say that the grass is green and not blue?
Well, I say the grass is green because it can be green on the other side, where sometimes the green grass can be greener than the other side, where it can be darker green. So lighter green, where that lighter green, in a sense, it's leaning toward the blue, like the blue sky, kind of like, yeah. So there's two different ways of looking at the green. That's the way I look at it. There's the light green and then there's dark green.
But you can pretty confidently say that in the vast majority of cases, that if we were to poll 100 random people anonymously, their answer would be what? At
least 99.9% chance that it would be green, as grass is green. At least, as we say, at least it would be that or greater.
And, and you may be people might wonder, like, what's the point, Neil? Why did you even bother with the whole thing? And let me get to the point here, Brent. We're going to be talking tomorrow. You got some numbers. We're going to crunch some numbers tomorrow because you got some numbers from the BC Ministry of Social Development the other day, and
that's right.
And they gave some numbers on their overall caseload, and they also gave a breakdown, and it was courtesy of Jeff, right? Jeff, was it Jeff and yourself that asked for the numbers, or
that's right? Yeah. We asked the minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction in the province of BC. We asked a staffer to basically generate out numbers for us of a caseload and some of the stat numbers of how many people are receiving disability income assistance and what's the breakdown of these numbers, and to be honest, looking at these numbers, and we'll pile into this on the roundtable.
We'll get into it. I didn't want to really get into it now, but other than to say that we will be getting into, we'll be diving deep into the numbers on the podcast tomorrow. And so I just wanted to give this whole thing of the grass is blue and the sky is green. There's a reason why I wanted to do that, and the reason is, we talk about pink unicorns all the time, and
like the one behind me.
Yes, and how our provincial governments like to pink unicorn everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my whole point of saying the grass is blue and the sky is green is to say this is an example of the provincial government pink unicorning things like clawbacks and the like, for example, it's been over 30 years now, so you have 30 years of government in BC here, at least 30 years of government, and in that 30-year time you've had I don't know how many different premiers, right? But so now we have we had Horgan, and now we have EB, and we've had others, but our current premier now is EB, right? And and the way the social development or the PWD social assistance is set up here in BC, the government, or I should just say, let's make it a little bit personal, even though we're not supposed to. But for this purpose, I'll just say, Premier EB wants to convince you and me, Brent, that the sky is green and the grass is blue. That is what the provincial government here in BC and other governments across Canada, they want to convince us that the sky is green and the grass is blue. And my whole fight against the clawbacks for the last 10 years I've been fighting this. And when I talk to the human rights tribunals, and they say, well, it's not discrimination, Neil, it's just unfair. And the reason why I'm changing my tact and we're talking about the sky being green and the grass blue is because the governments for the last 30 years and our tribunals, they like to focus on the fact that if you can't prove that something is discriminatory from a disabled lens, it's not discrimination. But my whole point of raising this idea of what is the sky, is it blue or is it green, and what is the grass, is it blue or is it green? My whole point of making this point, and I hope I'm making my point clear, but we'll see. But my whole point of presenting it this way is that the governments are basically throwing out, and our human rights tribunals are basically agreeing with this idea that the truth of something, the reality of something doesn't really matter. If you make a decision on discrimination, the truth of it doesn't really matter. The reality of it doesn't really matter. What matters is that I have to prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that something is discriminatory from a disabled lens exclusively, but the provincial government can just throw a pink unicorn at something and say, well, we've pink unicorned it now, so it's not discrimination anymore.
This one right here, and this pink unicorn that's sitting behind me, for people that are listening to the podcast at another time, I have a pink unicorn that's actually sitting behind me when I do the podcast, and it's sitting there for people to see when they're actually watching the actual video content of this. But when they're listening to it, I'm kind of describing to them that it's over on my left-hand side, and it's sitting behind me. And just to remind people that pink unicorns do exist. And they say, what? Well, they do.
For the government, they do. For the government, they do.
These pink unicorns.
And that's my problem. That's my problem.
The problem with the government policies is that I think with what Neil is basically saying here also is to people listening to this going, the grass is blue and the sky is green, right? It's to the government, it makes sense. It makes sense. They want people to think that makes sense. But to everyone listening to this, they're gonna say, "What? You guys? What? This that makes not even make sense." But yes, it does. Yeah, it's in reality. Yes, it doesn't make sense, does it? Because the grass is not. In reality, the grass is not blue.
Yeah.
Right.
And we all know that Premier EB is a lawyer. In his past life, he was a lawyer. I mean, maybe he still does it on the side. I don't know. Who knows? But imagine him in a courtroom where he's on the stand, and he's, or even let's even say that he's a lawyer, even not that he's even on the stand, but he could be up in front of like the jury and be holding an apple. Imagine this, everybody. Imagine this. He's holding an apple and saying, "This is an orange." So you have Premier Eby holding up an apple and saying, "This is an orange." But is it really? you know, like
exactly.
Like and people are going to say, "Well, I don't understand what you're talking about, Neil, because you're just kind of you're talking about oranges, you're talking about apples, you're talking about the sky being green and the grass being, what connection are you making here?" And I hope people understand, though, because I'm not just kind of throwing it out for no reason, because my point is that the idea that the government can take something that is an absolute, just like the sky is blue is an absolute, and just the idea that you can hold an apple up and say it's an orange, we know categorically it is not an orange. If you hold an apple up and say it's an orange, it's a falsehood. Like, we know that automatically, because we know from reality, from the truth and reality of it, we can look at an apple and say that's not an orange, right? Because if we say it's an orange, we are lying to ourselves. And my point of this whole thing is the government makes policies that they're deliberately lying to themselves. They deliberately bend over backwards. They bend over backwards to deceive and lie to themselves and say that a pension is no longer a protected income. A pension is a pink unicorn because pink unicorns exist. Right?
Right.
Pink unicorns, in the eyes of the provincial government, pink unicorns are a real thing. And in the eyes of the BC Human Rights Tribunal, they say, well, so what? Pink unicorns are real. So what? Like, I'm sorry, but your response to that should be more than a so what. You know what I'm saying? And I hope I make, like, again, we didn't practice this. I didn't tell you what I was going to say.
No, it's not a
like
trick question.
like I'm asking you legitimately, is the sky blue and is the grass green? And we all know that yes, the sky is blue and the grass is green. And we all know what an apple is, we all know what an orange is.
Yeah.
And we should all know what a pension is.
Right. And that's like
but for whatever reason, the government loves to pink unicorn stuff.
Yeah. And here's another good one though, Neil. It's so a bus has been transformed into a motorhome, and someone says, "That's a bus. That's a bus. I recognize it." No, it's not. It's now a motorhome because it was actually transformed. Someone said, "No. It used to be." That's like a pink unicorn. It used to be. Poof. Yeah. Now it's a motorhome.
Yeah.
Or, hey, wait a minute. Those were condominiums before. No, they're rentals now. Boom. Just like that. Yeah. And so that's another good example that people can now maybe put that into context of saying, oh, wow. So when you think one thing is going, well, in reality, it's supposed to be going this way, it can also mean something else.
This wasn't a trick question thing.
No.
You weren't supposed to overthink. You weren't supposed to overthink it. You were just supposed to say, well, is it blue or is it green? And so, but my whole point of doing this, like I said, is to realize the extent to which pink unicorns are a very real thing in government. And for the last 10 years, I've been fighting like hell to kill every single last one of those pink unicorns that are running amok that are running amok in our BC government and are running amok in all other governments across Canada. I mean, pink unicorns have to die, because you know what? Pink unicorns are not real. Pink unicorns are not real. And the government has to wake up and realize pink unicorn, you know what? They have to say pink unicorns are not real, and we should not be bending over backwards to pervert things and say, you know what, the grass is blue and the sky is green and this apple is an orange. The government bends over backwards. And the worst of it is our human rights tribunals say, so what? So what? And that's my problem.
It's like they want to make themselves believe that what they're saying is so true.
Yeah. And
you know,
is it so bad? Is it so bad for the last 10 years, the only thing I've ever wanted in these last 10 years is truth in government?
Yeah.
And that's all I want. That's all I want is truth in government, truth from the BC Human Rights Tribunal. Like, what is truth? What is reality? If you pervert reality, if you pervert truth,
yeah, it's not difficult.
What's the point? What's the point of making a decision about what is discrimination and what is not discrimination? What's the point of deciding what is discrimination and what is not if you're going to ignore the truth and if you're going to pervert reality and say it doesn't matter? You get my point? You get my point?
I totally got your point on that, Neil. Like, any clawbacks should not even exist in Canada whatsoever. None. Zero. Zip, everybody. Zero. Clawbacks of any kind. I remember a time my mom was a co-op member. Okay, so she would go to the co-op. She would do all her shopping. We had a little farm of oh my gosh, she had cats and chickens and birds and dogs, fish. The point of the matter is she would get all her feed. She would get all the pet feed from the co-op. They had a farming section there. She'd go do all her grocery shopping there. She'd buy all case lot sales and find bargain deals, because she said back then that's what you had to do. You had to find bargain deals, get the most value for your dollar, because she says relying that the government is going to do the right thing, she said, in raising pensions back then, little pitables, she called it, little pibbables. And I used to laugh on that. She used to call it pibbables. I go, pibbables? She goes, pibbables. That's what she called it, a little nickname. And I said, what does pibbables mean? It's not even a word, Mom. She said, it's called driblets.
Driblets, yeah.
Driblets. And she said, and it didn't really mean anything to me, but I always kind of got a giggle about it. She says, they don't care. She said, they don't care about seniors. She said, they definitely don't care about people with disabilities. I go, and that was back before I knew a lot about different advocacy. Like, I knew a lot, but she taught me a lot about growing up when she was just a little girl, about going through the deep depression, going through recessions, depression. That's right, folks. She went through the Great Depression. It was not easy. So she told me that in the future there's going to be a recession, and government needs to raise the rates before that happens, before really the shit hits the fan. And I don't mean to be blunt, before the shit hits the fan, as her wording was. So getting back to about the co-op, so she got, she did a lot of shopping there. She got a nice check from the co-op saying, thank you very much. It was really nice, that you contribute into a community-based business. And this is basically your reward for shopping at our store. Oh, so anyway, I come out. So she got a check. She had to declare it. She's a senior. She had to declare it as income. Mm-hmm. Okay. What did the government do, Neil? And everybody listening to this or watching this, what did the government do? They clawed it off her. Why?
That was gonna be my first guess.
Yeah. You know why? Because you know what the government said? Because it wasn't employment income.
Yeah.
And I argued with the worker. I go, employment income? She's retired. She's a senior. It's not employment income. So according to the government, we need to claw it off her. And guess how much she got? Just take a wild guess, Neil. How much did you think that she got out of a year? I mean, she did a lot of shopping. You gotta shop a lot to get. And hers was actually on the bottom scale. There was other people who got even more. Just take a wild guess.
I don't even want to.
Just throw a figure out. It doesn't really a fiction or figure out. I'll tell you.
$400.
$1,800.
Okay.
So her pension, it was actually more than her pension. It was more than her pension at the time. So she actually ended up getting no money. They clawed it.
Okay,
all.
I see what you mean. I was thinking you were talking about the clawback part of it.
Yeah, the clawback of the total amount.
Okay,
they took
okay.
100% dollar for dollar.
Yeah.
She got no check. Plus they took it off next month.
I got you. Yeah.
So she fought it, and I actually helped her with it and argued up and down. I told them, "You want to go to court? You want us to go to court and take you to small claims court?" One of our neighbors was actually a lawyer at the time, and I rocked the boat. I really rocked the boat. I said, "No." I said, "This is BS. This is garbage. You guys do this to a senior." I said, "I'll take it to the news." I said, "You want me to drag it to the news? Yeah, let's take it. Media will be all over government." I said, "I know how much basic government hates media.
Yeah,
they love to tell the media what to do."
The reason why I said $400 is because I was thinking you were talking about the what's left after the claw. Because in my case. Back again when the government was clawing back mine dollar for dollar, they give me some now because of my orphans, my son's orphans portion. But back when they were clawing back every penny of it, I was left with less than $400 a month of support from the provincial government. And and I mean, this was back when monthly support should have been for me. As a single dad with a son, it should have been like around over $1,200, and I was left with like under $400.
Oh my gosh, Neil, that is terrible.
After the clawback, and we should say as well, like just yesterday we celebrated what? We celebrated Remembrance Day, right? And what do the government do? What does the provincial government do to all of our war veterans that are fighting in current wars or have fought in past wars? I know, like basically all the veterans from World War I are dead now, but there's a few left over from World War II still. Yeah. And what does the provincial government do here, and what do other provincial governments do elsewhere in Canada? They claw back the pensions of veterans, saying thank you for sacrificing your life, putting your life on the line, protecting our freedoms, and for that you deserve a clawback and poverty. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, and you get to live on the street because they don't have enough now to actually find appropriate cheap housing that fits their needs, medical needs, and they served in this country and around the world. They fought for what we have now. If they didn't fight for what we have now, my gosh, it would be a different Canada altogether. And right now, it actually feels like a different Canada altogether anyway.
It doesn't,
Because how they treat the veterans, how they treat seniors, how they treat people with disabilities, people on low income. My gosh, like we can make Canada such a better place. But no, it's ableism, right? I mean, we'll call it what it is.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the veterans, the politicians, the provincial politicians in power would not even have.
Oh yeah,
they would not even have any of their jobs. They would not have the golden handshake pensions.
Yeah.
You know, like I've always said in emails, it's like, you know, I've been told that clawing back a pension is not discriminatory. So my response is, well, I wonder if I was given the power to claw back the pensions of David Eby and all the MLAs, even if I told Eby to his face that I am going to claw back your pension on purpose as a prejudiced action, I am going to do this.
Mhm.
And then he could say, well, that's prejudice, Neil. And you know what? Then I could change the goalposts and say, but David Eby, Premier Eby, I'm not actually just only I'm not only taking your pension away. I'm going to take away all the pensions from your cabinet, from everybody in your cabinet. I'm gonna take their pensions away too. And then you know what he would say? He would say, well, Neil, that's being discriminatory towards my cabinet. You can't do that. And then you know what I would say then? I would say, well, you know what, Premier Eby, I'm just gonna change the goalposts again. And I'm not going to just target you and your cabinet. I'm going to target all of the NDP MLAs and claw back their pensions. And then Premier Eby would say, well, Neil, that's discriminatory because you're not only clawing back my pension, you're clawing back my cabinet's pension, and you're clawing back all NDP MLA pensions. And you know what? Then I would respond and say, well, David Eby, I'm just going to claw back all the pensions from all MLAs, regardless of the party. So I'll claw back the BC Liberal pensions. I'll claw back the NDP pensions. I'll even claw back the BC Green pensions. I'll claw back everybody's pensions, and then
Conservatives too. They got the new ones now. The
yeah,
Conservative Party gets
So
include everybody. I mean, yeah, sure.
You know, and I can say, well, that. You know what? That's equal discrimination. I'm applying the discrimination equally. So therefore, it's not discrimination. That's the response I get from the tribunal. That if a discrimination is equally applied, it's not discrimination anymore, Neil. You know, if we take a pension away from a pensioner, from an old woman, I mean the government, the provincial government also claws back pensions from an old woman. So if we claw back pensions of old women and we also claw back your pension, it's not discrimination anymore. You can't just say it's the idea that they're clawing back from a disabled lens no longer applies. So then the discrimination is null and void, right? That's the response. That's the response I get. And so that goes back to my whole point of why I started this whole thing with the grass is green, or the grass is blue, and the sky is green. Yeah. Because again, what's the point of even fighting for discrimination and saying something is either discrimination or not if you're going to just throw out the all-important truth and reality of something? If the government can just pink unicorn everything and say, well, the truth of something and the reality of something no longer matters. Mm-hmm. We can just pink unicorn a pension and it doesn't matter. The reality of a pension, what is the definition of a pension? The one constant of a pension is that it's protected income.
Here's a couple good examples, though, which is kind of the same thing as the government would look at it as equality here. So bus pass.
Okay. I love where this is going already. I love where this is going already.
Hey, I mean, the bus pass, like, hey, you can have it. Oh, you can't have it unless you opt out. Oh, you want to have money? Oh, once upon a time in BC, we used to the PWD would be able to just apply once a year, everyone, $45, pay one flat rate. Go to your bank, you pay $45 as a bill payment, done. Government gets $45, you get a bus pass. Okay? So it doesn't matter in the urban area, you would have a bus pass, conventional bus that you could use. Handy Dart, that's a different kind of cost. So whatever, I'm not going to go there on that one. But the conventional buses, $45, pay one. Unlimited travel within BC Transit or TransLink, right? You didn't have to opt in, opt out. You had the freedom of using the transit when you needed it. It was there. If you didn't want to use it, you didn't have to use it. But all of a sudden your needs changed. Maybe you had a medical appointment. You need to go shopping. Oh, yes. And when, at that time, people used to be able to afford to go to the grocery stores and pick up that nutritious food that they need. They didn't need to go to a food bank. They could just go to the grocery store because they know what's best for what their dietary needs are, right? Because food banks don't give you everything. So that choice, that freedom of movement, yeah, that's right, called freedom of movement, be able to move wherever you want within transit, on transit, that is. But now, God forbid, if you want to move, we'll get to that. But so you get to go on the transit and go to the grocery store, go to your medical appointments, go and visit a friend, go and visit a relative, if you can actually get to that community. But still, you pay that one flat rate. In the rural areas, okay, so we're talking about urban areas. Rural areas, those were areas that PWD would have an STS, and that was called Special Transportation Subsidy. Okay, so those individuals would have I think it was like $692 a year they were given, and as a flat rate. It could have a choice as a flat rate or monthly increments. Most people would took it as a flat rate because they could use it as car insurance, or maybe they paid a family friend, or maybe maybe a next door neighbor, someone that they know, maybe a caregiver, whoever it may be, whatever the case is, they could go and pay them to basically take them to the store, or, as I just mentioned, all the above. Grocery shopping, medical appointments, whatever it may be. Or they could just have it as a flat rate, go and buy a whole bunch of groceries in their freezer, stock it up, right? I mean, and then stay isolated for the rest of the year, right?
Yeah.
And that's how people in the urban area now feel. They feel isolated because if they opt out of that bus pass, okay, sure, they can have $52. But if if you live close to the store, that's great. If you don't, the government says, hey, go to the food bank. How do you go to the food bank if you don't have transportation?
Yeah.
How do you get there? Like, how do you, and that's the part I keep scratching my head about, I said, well, how the hell do you get to the food bank? Yeah. Or if you pay a delivery company from a grocery store, I believe Save on Foods does it for $10. I think you could get each delivery. However, they have a minimum purchase that you need to spend in order to have that delivered. So you pay $10, and you can have it done. So the value of a bus pass at $45 before, now it's $52.
Yeah.
Oof, 45 turns into 50.
And the whole reason why the bus pass was canceled. What was it? Is for equity in the system, remember?
It was equity. Yeah, fairness and equity in the system. Yeah. Because six people outside in a rural area said it was unfair that they didn't have access to transportation.
6 people said it was broken, and Michelle Stilwell responded to the 6 people, and the other thousands and thousands of people that it was helping, the 99.999% of the people that it was actually helping, she said, you know what? Who cares? Let's blow it up. Let's blow it up because we need to have equity in the system. I need to listen to those 6 people. Yeah. And that's what that. I mean, we're again, let's back up the train again. My whole point for this whole thing was, let's talk about truth. Let's talk about reality. The truth of it was, for the bus pass, is it was blown up. It was blown up for no good reason, just because 6 people said blow it up.
You know how many media contacted me about that? They said, how does this even make sense? Did they just take away a bus pass? I go, I said, well, they technically took it away, yes, but the government claims, we gave them a choice though. You can have a bus pass if you stay opted in. Yeah. Meaning we'll keep giving you the actual same bus pass. The value is now worth $52. If you want it as a cash add-on to your check, you just don't have transportation. You can have the cash. You can go and buy Boston pizza. You could go to Save on Foods. You could go to Superstore. You go to Walmart. oh, take a bus down there, maybe pay the bus driver some cash, drop it in their change box, go there and do a shop. One shop. What about the rest of the month?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're screwed. You're screwed.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
But you're screwed in an equitable way.
Yeah, that's right.
It's equitable. It's equitable. So the fact that we're screwed doesn't matter because it's equitable.
Yeah.
It's equally applied, Brent.
Right.
It's equally applied.
But if you don't take the money and you have the bus pass and you change your mind in the month, no problem. Government says no problem. We can actually now cancel that bus pass. We'll send you $52. But if you change your mind, now you got to wait till the next check issue date, which is the next following month. So if it's a 5-week month, you now got to wait till that month, and now they got to mail it out to you.
And again, why is that, Brent? Because Pink Unicorn, the pink unicorn behind your head, is alive and well.
It's alive and well because
the pink unicorn is alive and well.
It's fairness and equity in the system.
Pink unicorns are real.
They are according to the government.
According to the government, pink unicorns are real.
Oh, and
our tribunals say yes, pink unicorns are real. And what's the problem with that?
I say give them back their bus pass.
Yeah.
Give them back their bus pass. But Neil, the system is broken. The computer system's broken.
Yeah.
But for seniors though, seniors get the same bus pass.
Yeah.
I saw the advertising on BC Transit Bus recently. I was looking under that, and it said seniors 60 to 64 can get the $45 a year bus pass.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But PWD, no, you have a choice. You can still have that choice. In my view, let people keep that $52, right? If that's what the value of the bus pass is, and just give them back the frickin' bus pass. I mean, it's a basic means of transportation. Really? Why should your life have to come to a grinding halt because you can't get anywhere because I spent the $52?
Right.
Wow. And so, with that, that's still an outstanding one. The government still says, oh no, even the current government, but it was restored. But it wasn't their government that actually took it away.
Yeah.
It was an agreement.
Yeah.
That was,
and like you said, Premier Horgan at the time, John Horgan,
right,
is on public record in front of TV cameras.
Yeah.
And an audio recorder saying, just give them back their bus pass.
Yeah. He
said that over and over. Just give them back their bus pass, right?
Yeah.
And he had how many years to do that? And did he do it? No. And why did he not do it? Because pink unicorns are real. That's why, Brent. Pink unicorns are real. Truth doesn't matter. Reality doesn't matter. Our BC Human Rights Tribunals, they say truth doesn't matter. Reality doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that a discrimination is only discrimination from a disabled lens exclusively, and if you can't prove that, then it doesn't exist.
I remember when the finance minister gave that one announcement, and it just outraged the PWD community, and a lot of reporters were baffled too. They said, here's $77. Here's $52. Out of that, you can have $52 for bus pass, but here's $25 left over. But hey, don't spend it all one place because you got to wait till the next year to get the next increase. Meanwhile, your rent has gone up in price. Right. The cost of food was going up. Not by a lot at that time, but it's starting to, things going up a little bit. $25, but hey, but don't worry. If you still need that 52, don't worry about it. Just take the 52 plus the 25, and there's your $77. But you can go without. And people said no. So what did they do? We screwed up, and we screwed up. Here's $50.
Yeah.
And then people said what? Well, no, but the $52 was for the bus pass. So they shortchanged them by $2.
Right.
Yeah. It still wasn't good enough. They wasn't quite that good enough to do it.
Yeah.
But so here's the other case. So that's the bus pass. Now we're talking about the $125 increase we got
Right.
In the February 28th budget of 2023, BC government announced, and then this is not about picking on the BC NDP, just so everybody knows. I'm not here just to directly.
We always just focus on the policy, right? This isn't
all about policy.
This isn't about picking on, like, even when I said I was going to mention David Ebid by name, I'm not picking on him. I was just trying to personalize it by saying, as a matter of illustration. But I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, right?
No.
We're just talking about policy here.
Yeah, and so here's another good example about policy and how it hurts people with disabilities. And I keep hearing this all the time, folks, all the time. Why? Because around my community, around my neighborhood, I've got a lot of people with disabilities around here. So I bump into them all the time, and we talk about the bus pass, and we talk about the rates. Oh, did you get the 125? Yeah, I did, but my neighbor didn't. Oh, really? How come? Oh, because they're in subsidized housing. Oh, what? So they don't deserve, the cost of living didn't go up for them? You mean their disability needs special diet supplement? Oh, yeah, my friend didn't qualify for that because they don't have that health condition that you're supposed to have for a mineral supplement, and all these magic words that you got to have these conditions to have all these other supplements, and the doctors won't just go and sign up. I need a vitamin, like a vitamin or nutritional supplement, a dietary supplement. You have to have a condition. Yeah. You have to have a certain conditions to get these supplements. Well, you know what? Why don't you just raise the rates? Let people go and buy these things.
Yeah.
So my point is that the person told me they have to use their check to go and buy these supplements because to better their health, because the food bank doesn't give it to them. They go to the grocery store. Well, they don't have it, so they have to go to a nutritional supplement store, and they've got the stuff there for them. And as we all know, those stores are not always that cheap, right? Yeah. Nutritional stores. They can't just go to their doctor and say, well, can you prescribe me this? No, I'm sorry, I can't unless I diagnose it. They don't have it. I mean, nobody wants to have extra conditions thrown in their life. No fault of their own. Like they have no choice how it happens to them. Do they want that just so they can go and qualify for a supplement of, here's an extra $65 for you?
Yeah.
But you got to have the condition. Like, really, government do the right thing. Listen to the experience of people with disabilities, what their needs are. Because I remember years ago, Neil, I had a worker who said, Brent, go and apply for all these supplements that you can get. Mm-hmm. Get them. They're there. I go, my doctor says I don't have Crohn's disease. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this. Yeah. I just have my disability.
Well,
that I was born.
I just wanted to interrupt you because you're saying a lot of good things. So this is the only reason why I'm interrupting you to highlight the points you're making. Yeah. And so let's back it up a little bit. One of the things we've talked about before is the idea that the PWD assistance used to be a pension, right? And that was back in the very early 90s. I think it finished. Like they stopped doing it. And
94.
And why was that a good thing, Brent? I know you know the answer, but I'm going to tell you the answer anyway. Why was that a good thing? Because it showed respect. It showed the idea that government understood that having a disability was a significant barrier, right? Mm-hmm. That it wasn't just some something that can be just solved by some pittance, like random amount of charity that that we're going to maybe support you and maybe not. And this is another thing you're kind of alluding to too, is you talk about all the time now the way our social assistance system is set up in BC here and everywhere else in Canada too. It's set up like it's pitting the disabled against the disabled and saying this disabled person deserves a rent subsidy.
25 and the ones don't, and market housing, you don't get it. So unless your rent went up above 1 penny above the 375. If your rent didn't go up above that 1 penny, you don't qualify.
Yeah, and
one
so
penny.
And so that's my problem again, and you touched on it already. So I'm just backing up the train, and we're talking about it. Is this whole idea that all of our social systems for over 30 years now at least, the whole thing is geared on, let's pit disabled person against disabled person and say this disabled person deserves this subsidy or deserves this income exemption. Right, mm-hmm. And this person doesn't deserve a subsidy or deserves a clawback. So you're pitting, you're dividing and conquering. The provincial government is dividing and conquering within the system of saying these group of PWD deserve a subsidy and income exemption, and these over here do not deserve that. Let's punish these over here, and let's reward these over here, and let's punish these over here. That's more than just saying,
it's evil.
It's more than just saying it's unfair. Like, because that's the response that I got from our tribunal. I got the response that says it's just unfair, Neil. It's not discrimination. I'm sorry. This is more than just unfair. It's discrimination. And why is it discrimination? It's because it's cherry picking.
And it is totally cherry picking.
And we know what cherry picking is, because if you look up cherry picking, what is the antonym of cherry picking? The antonym of cherry picking, if you look it up, I mean, people can look it up in the dictionary right now. In fact, I mean, maybe later I can put a screen capture of what the antonym.
Cherries. Do one of cherries.
Yeah, I'll do the antonym of cherry picking. I'll do a screen grab. The antonym of cherry picking is indiscriminate. So the opposite of cherry picking is indiscriminate. So if the opposite of cherry picking is indiscriminate, that means cherry picking is what? Discriminatory, right?
Totally.
And yet our wonderful human rights tribunal says it's not discrimination, Neil. Cherry picking is not discrimination. I don't know why you keep bugging us. For 10 years you've been bugging us saying cherry picking policies are discriminatory. It's not discrimination, Neil. It's only unfair.
Well, I have a message for them about cherry picking.
If I was going to claw back Mr. Eby's pension, would he just say, "Oh, you're being unfair, Neil"? Would he say it's unfair, or would he say it's a targeted? Would he say it's a targeted discrimination? But I just wanted to end on the idea that again, the whole reason why I talked about the grass being blue and the sky being green. Is that reality matters, right? Truth matters. And when you have the government and when you have agencies like our human rights tribunals that decide what discrimination is and is not, you cannot throw out truth and reality and say truth and reality does not matter. It does not matter if you pink unicorn something. That's what they say. And that's what our provincial government says. It doesn't matter, Brent. It doesn't matter, Neil, if we pink unicorn stuff. But you know what? I disagree, Brent. I disagree that pink unicorning something is discriminatory. And you know what? I think the government should stop bending over backwards to do the wrong thing. Again, it's only been 10 years for me. Like, it's been way more than 10 years for a lot of other people, but it's been 10 years for me of
10 years too much
of this clawback, right? So for 10 years they've been deliberately doing the wrong thing, knowing it's the wrong thing, knowing that they're pink unicorning something, and they don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care.
The government needs to actually start retroacting back to every single person in Canada for all the clawbacks they've done and the harm they've caused in people's lives. I can tell you, government, okay, across Canada and British Columbia, every province listening to this. My mom suffered. It caused her health to go right down. It was one chain reaction after government actions. They caused a lot of pain and suffering. Why didn't you submit in your documentation in time? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And she would come home crying. My mom would be crying, and she'd come to me and talk to me because she didn't know who else to talk to. She couldn't talk to my brother. My brother had already left home. My brother was there to help my mom, where my brother was able to drive her around because I can't drive, but I was there for my mom as a person to talk to. So that was the difference between my brother and me. I was there for her to talk to. She felt comfortable talking to me. And, you know, that's just how life was, right? At the time, talking to a person with a disability, and I was doing the best I could going through life. I mean, with all my obstacles, but I learned that's just my life. That's just who I am. And I've come a long way of learning advocacy, of listening to people and bringing people into my life and talk about lived experience. But I was always there for my mom. And what the government caused her suffering. Why? Because it was fair, because that was just how the system is set up. The system is set up that way because it is.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't mean that in reality that
because pink unicorns are real. But let's qualify that pink unicorns are real according to the government. But let's look at that bag behind your head. Why is that pink unicorn on a bag?
It's on a bag because,
it's on a bag because it's not real.
That's right.
It's not real. That bag, it's just a bag. That pink unicorn is not real. It's just a bag, people.
Just a bag. You see this? This is just a bag.
It's just a bag. It's not a real. It's not a real unicorn.
See, like we just carted away. Now you see it. Now you don't.
It's not a real unicorn, right, Brent? We can agree.
Real.
We can agree that that's not a real unicorn.
It's not a real unicorn, but in the government's eyes, it's real. Why? Because they say it's real.
Yeah. They
say it's real, and who says?
They say the grass is blue, the sky is green.
It's green.
And again, and I hate, you know, maybe I'm throwing people under the bus here, but our own Human Rights Tribunal says it's fine, Neil. It's fine if the government says the grass is blue and the sky is green. It's fine. It's not discrimination. It's just unfair.
You know, some people would probably
and I have a problem with that. I have a serious problem with that. I'm sorry.
I know, me too. I have a real serious problem with it because I witnessed all these clawbacks and going through, hell. And I'll be honest, it was hell. Going this and my mom crying and not even having enough food in the house because her pension got clawed off. What are we having tonight for dinner? She says, I think there's some bread in the fridge, Brent, some butter. Yeah. Some nights going to bed with no food. Like, oh my God, eh? Like, and, you know, the government said to my mom, well, go to the food bank. Go to the food bank.
That's a solution. That's a solution.
Yeah, that was a solution. Yeah, go to the food bank. My mom...
It's not our obligation to look after the most vulnerable. It's not our job. It's the job of food banks.
Yeah, my mom didn't drive, so a neighbor drove her down. She went down there, and some of the stuff was not fresh, and she could only get so much because she was only allowed to get so much. Yeah, and it got to a point where you can't live under the same household. No, because based on household income. That's got to change too.
That's a pink unicorn rule as well.
That's another one that had to change. It was either I lived there and with my mom or my brother couldn't. It was either me or my brother. I had to live with her. And it got to a point where eventually we had to then put her, after she had to move into another home. And that gets into a part where, unfortunately, under the Tenancy Act, it indicated that, the sisters were one of them was going to live in the house. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. But under the Tenancy Act, it was actually proven that, under a tribunal, I'm sorry, the documentation says that this one sister's going to live in the house because she inherited the house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but hey, because she had to go for treatment to the hospital. Well, did she? That was the thing that had to be proven under reasonable doubt. The fact is that it was the agreement that my mom had with the landlord. He passed away, and the agreement was, please let her live there the rest of her life, because is it going to harm anything? So guess what? My mom got evicted. Why? Because they could get $1,200 at the time for that house. $1,200 at that time. Guess how much my mom was paying, everyone? $475.
Yeah.
But the agreement she had with the landlord, and if he was to be passed away, like if he passed away, that his daughters would inherit. The agreement was that she had to then fix things herself, get a handyman in, get somebody in to fix things if they broke down. Nope. The alternative thing was get her out. We can make more money. And why I knew all this is because one of my next door neighbors actually witnessed it and actually let me know what was going on. So my mom lived into a place before we put her into a home, and then after that she passed away a couple of years later, a year and a half later actually. But we put her into another place, and she told me it was a dungeon, and I saw her health deteriorating down rapidly because the government allowed this other situation to happen, and I fought for her. She wouldn't even go to tribunal. I went there on her behalf. I said, can you please do the right thing? Not saying that because that my mom was right or wrong, and my mom was in the right, but I said, even if she wasn't in the right, I said, like, this, can you like rectify this, make some kind of a compromise with the new owner? That was their decision, was final. She called it a dungeon. We put her in, and I'd go and see her. And I said right to my mom, I will not stop advocating. I will not stop fighting. She says, don't fight the government. You're not going to win. I said, I'm sorry. That's the part where my mom and I disagreed, because my mom would say, no, like they call the shots. That's how it works. I said, no, that tells me that the system is messed up. It needs to be changed. And she says, then I finally made her realize what was going on. And then she said, okay. I showed her examples, and this is how your life would be if this was the case, if they didn't claw that off you. Oh my God. I go, yeah. So that tells me someone, I guess, and the moral of the story, I guess, of all this, everyone, is who is telling the government? Who is telling the tribunal what to do? That is the question. Who is saying
and believing that pink unicorns are real?
Yeah. Who's telling the tribunal and the decision makers? Is it the advisors? Is it the CEOs? Is it the corporate investors? Is it the stakeholders? Is it all of the above?
Yeah. And it's I've been fighting this for 10 years, and I'm not just fighting it for my own, like, it's not just because I don't even know the right words, but it's not because I'm full of myself or something that I believe that I am right, that I'm not trying to be right in my own, like, there to me there's no, it's not a case of like being right in my own eyes. Like, I don't believe in self-righteousness, right? I'm not trying to prove that I am right in my own eyes. All I'm trying to prove is I'm trying to prove that, you know what? Truth matters, reality matters, pink unicorns are not real, and the government has to step up and stop doing the wrong thing on purpose. That's my whole thing. I don't care about being self-righteous, because I mean, I'm not that. I mean, if it was only about me being self-righteous, I would have given up the fight like 10 years ago. Like, because I mean, like, there's no point in me fighting if I'm just going to be self-righteous in my own eyes. I'm not gonna fight it. But the only reason I'm fighting it is because I know it's wrong, and the thing is most importantly is that I know the government knows it's wrong. I know the government knows it's wrong. And
Yeah,
that
and
is
they-
the point. I mean, that's the mic drop that we got to stop right there. You know, I know, and you know, and everybody else knows. The government knows what they're doing is wrong, and
Totally.
all I want to do is to have somebody acknowledge that yes, we're doing this wrong on purpose. Deliberately, we're doing the wrong thing on purpose, and you know what? We should stop doing that, because doing the wrong thing on purpose is a bad thing. Having real live unicorns running amok in our provincial government is a bad thing, because pink unicorns are not real. You know, that's what I want to stop with today. You know, I just want to stop. Like, that's the mic drop.
Yeah, the mic drop right there, and that's why I said, you know, when people hear me talk about, well, like this scenario, what I've gone through growing up with my mom growing up, is I told her I will not stop advocating. And then when I heard your story, what you've gone through, Neil, and so many other people across British Columbia, across the country, and when and all these clawbacks, and it all started back where way before the bus pass clawback. I mean, taking that away, right? That was a bunch of BS, right? And I'm still really pissed about that. That just everyone knows. I will not stop that. Like, I want that $45 bus pass restored, okay? And just give them back the goddamn $52.
Yeah.
Is it really? Oh no, we can't afford that. We got no money. Really?
You know, and sorry, Brent, I just wanted to interrupt. You know, there's a reason why we've talked about the Expo 86 before too, right? I mean, everybody that's from BC here, like you and I, will fondly remember Expo 86, and especially people, especially people with disabilities.
Oh yeah,
you'll remember it fondly. You'll remember it fondly because people with disabilities were treated like royalty, like frickin' royalty.
They were. Like,
the red carpet was rolled out the moment that anybody with a disability came through those gates at Expo 86. They rolled out the red carpet, and you know what? That was great, and that was the right thing to do. And you know, back in the early 90s too, when social assistance was a pink, or what am I going to say, pink unicorn, was a pension.
Yeah, back when it wasn't pink unicorn.
When it wasn't a pink unicorn, when it was a pension.
Turned into a pink unicorn.
Yeah,
just like,
when it was a pension, that was the right thing to do too. Yeah. And when did it stop being the case when doing the right thing suddenly didn't matter anymore? That's what I want to know. Like, when did it stop being a thing when the right thing didn't matter?
Here's another thing I'm going to throw at you, Neil. I remember a discussion I had with my there's a neighbor who lived 3 doors up from me. I had to think there for a minute. 3 doors up from me. And why I remembered these people living there, they were just fabulous people. They were German. They were just some German lady and her husband. They lived there in the house, and they used to make me German cookies. Okay. I would do a paper route, and I would come by, and I finally convinced them to get a weekly subscription. They only took the weekend. They took just a weekend subscription, and then, I got some cookies for you, and I'm like. There was a couple different kinds they would make. There's one kind I actually didn't mind. I actually thought they were really good. Yeah. This other kind I really didn't like it much. but I thought, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take them because I gave them to my mom. My mom loved them. For some reason, I don't know. There was one kind I didn't, but I always loved because the idea, the thoughtfulness, the compassionate of like being very thoughtful of saying this is for you. They would make me all sorts of not just cookies, like banana bread. They would make me that. They would make different pies. They loved cooking, and they made different meals. This and that. I'd come over for a meal, and just because. And I would tell my mom, well, apparently they're making something. Oh, okay, you go ahead, because I didn't like what my mom was making. So yeah, that's okay. It kind of worked out well. And I guess the moral of the story is having people recognize just the person for who they are, and accepting them for who they are. And where was I? Oh yeah, so I would sit down with them, and I would tell them, like, I could kind of talk to them on a one-to-one and say, well, my mom was really upset, and I said, well, like, yeah, what is going on? I said, well, they have about her pension, and they're like, well, how come for your disability, Brent? Why is yours not a pension? Why is your mom's? And this lady I was talking to, she had just got onto her pension. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why people with disabilities don't have a pension. Mm-hmm. I go, I don't know. I said, I'm not sure, because I didn't know. Like I said, I don't know that. And so the lady said that she talked to her worker as a senior. They still had workers who they would go and see, who would monitor it, and they asked that question. I said, can you ask that question for me? Mm-hmm. The worker said, I don't know. You know what? Actually, I guess the moral of the story is the worker did know. The worker did know the answer, but didn't want to tell the German lady and her husband the real answer. The real answer is they did know, because it was right here. Yeah. Pink unicorn. Yeah. It was because the fact is that they were allowed to claw it off and to justify, well, seniors have it. Yeah. People with disabilities did have it, but we're going to change it into no pension, but we're going to allow clawbacks to continue on seniors and people with disabilities. But one can have a pension, one can't. It's like the housing. One can have 125. The other people on market housing can't.
Some can have a subsidy, some can't.
Some can't.
Some can have an income exemption, and some get the clawback.
Some can have a bus pass, or some can't.
Some can have a bus pass and some can't.
Seniors can't. Disabled can't.
And again, we're back to the cherry picking definition.
Back and forth.
But apparently cherry picking is not discriminatory, even though the antonym proves, because the antonym of cherry picking is indiscriminate. So if the antonym is indiscriminate, that means that it is discrimination.
Or you can have rent geared to income based on a household income. But apparently I love it when you think outside the box. Yeah. Remember that line I always
and again, like, I love that she came on the show. Yeah. And I hope that she comes on again, and and like, I think it was great, and I mean, I give her full credit for coming on, because she, like, you knew that she was gonna potentially take arrows. I mean, we didn't direct a lot of arrows at her, like, because I was just impressed that she came on. Yeah. But again, we're not going to target.
This is not.
We're not going to target politicians. We're not going to target MLAs. No. We're targeting the policy. We're targeting pink unicorns that are not real. Pink unicorns have to die. Yeah. Because they are not real.
And this is like the one part that I wanted to add on to. When we did have that minister on, which is in a positive way, that people are going to hear us going, "Oh, you guys are attacking ministers now," and no, we're not.
We're not.
So this is about policy, but this is the part I wanted to add on, though, too, about the RGI based on an income, household income. It needs to be based on the individual, folks.
Yes.
Based
autonomy.
On
autonomy.
Individual person in a household. Yes. Because I can tell you, and people listening to this to be, oh yeah, didn't he mention that sometime earlier in the podcast? Yes, I did, and I mentioned this all the time on all the podcasts. Well, maybe not all, but quite a bit of the time I will bring up the topic about RGI, and I say, well, I'll tell the story. well, I live with my mom. My mom brought up me and my brother, but one of us had to move. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the toughest decision my mom had to make.
Yeah.
Does Brent's brother go,
Yeah.
or does he stay? I had to stay.
Yeah, and if government respected the idea of autonomy,
Yep.
it would
Then
it
that
would
would
not
be-
be it would never have happened, right?
It should have never happened. And I came down on the government like a ton of bricks when it came to that, because I had to come in and go for a consultation with my mom at the time with her pension, and I had the same lady. And I sat down, and I tell you, if mud could hit that wall, my mom, she was very upset in the meeting. And so I had to calm down the meeting, because the worker and there I go, and you know what I said? I said, quiet. I said, quiet down now. I said, enough. I said right to the worker, I said, enough of BS. My mom's hurting. I said, stop it already. And then she said, what? I said, you are hurting her. You're hurting me, making for my mom to make a decision on who needs to stay, who needs to go. Why? Is the system that? I said, effed up. And I use those lines, everyone. I didn't hold. My mom actually gave me hell after.
Here's the swear jar.
Oh, my mom yelled at me. She said, she says, you need to show some respect. I go, oh, me respect? And so my mom goes, what are you saying? So I told her, and my mom says, can I speak to the worker again? Oh, your meeting has been concluded. I go, actually, she needs to speak to the worker right now. Okay, I think she's actually in another meeting. I go, fine, the meeting can be interrupted. Anyway, we demanded, so my mom went in and marched me back in, made me apologize. My mom made me apologize to the worker for how I actually reacted, because the system allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
Imagine, my mom makes me apologize
Yeah.
for the government screw up.
Yeah, the government's in the wrong, but you have to apologize for it.
My mom told me to apologize for being upset to the worker.
Yeah.
And you know what the worker said, everyone? Okay? The worker said, the system is designed that way. She wouldn't get into specifics. She says, I just work here. I'm following what the system says on the computer, what the language, they call it, the language that's written into legislation. And
that's what you and I understand. That's what you and I understand too. I mean, Sheila Malcolmson and all the ministers before her, they're just messengers, right? For the most part. I mean, we had Shane Simpson. I mean,
that's right.
He really tried to make some changes too. But and we talk about the like because he knows what poverty is like, because he grew up in poverty.
He talked to on lived experience.
So
he said he really got to understand. And he said we taught him a lot. I remember saw a guy going to town hall meetings, and he said, "You guys taught me. You guys actually taught me a lot from what I know now." He said he actually admitted that he was ignorant. Like he says, I was ignorant to the fact that I didn't know what people's lived experience was, what they went through, until he actually bent down and actually, like, he was talking to them on street level. Then he actually got the appreciation of understanding, like, this is how the system is.
Yeah.
And I know, like, when we've had him on, like, a few good times, and he was frustrated because the system wouldn't allow him to make changes that he wanted to do. The system wanted him to make changes, and I'm not and he didn't even get into it because he's not allowed to talk about it. They wanted him to make change, and he said he refused to do so. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So again, we're not going to
policy. It's the policy.
Yeah, it's the policy. So I'm not going to speak bad or ill will of Sheila Malcolmson. I'm not going to speak badly of Shane Simpson because they're all doing their best. But they're doing their best within a system that's broken, and it's broken on purpose because pink unicorns are real, and they should not be real. That's my hope. Going back, if we're going the tape to the beginning, that's the whole reason why I started with the whole thing of the sky is green and the grass is blue, because we're talking about something that's not reality, that's not truth, and the idea that truth doesn't matter, that reality doesn't matter, that pink unicorns can run amok, even though they don't exist, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, they're not real. They're just on a bag, people. They're just on a bag. This is not real.
and we hate to burst people's bubble, but Santa Claus isn't real either. And the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny isn't real either.
Did you know that song yet?
Sorry to burst people's bubble, but the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus isn't real either. And maybe some ministers believe that too. But anyway, I gotta go, Brent. We gotta punch out.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and thanks for understanding what we've been trying to put across here is that it's policies, it's legislated policy. It doesn't matter. And this is not going with any government. This is all nonpartisan. It's policies, and every minister of every government that gets in, they try their best. They whatever it may be, but they get to roadblocks because there's policies that are in there that stop them from actually doing what they need to do. I want to see people having a life of that they can enjoy in Canada, that they should not be given made because government or to apply for made. Hey, well, you're approved.
Yeah.
You're approved. What?
Just like a loan, just like a bank loan. You've been approved.
You've been approved, but how come you can't raise people's income up to a livable level? Oh, but that would require us to actually talk to our stakeholders, and they wouldn't like that very much. Oh, I'm sorry. So here's a challenge. Here's a challenge, everyone. Your stakeholders, if government's watching this, okay, I want you to have some of your people that are telling you what to do. I want you to get them to come onto our show.
Yeah.
Nonpartisan and non-attack. I just want to know why you're allowing this to happen. Why are you allowing clawbacks to happen? Why are you not raising people with disabilities their income up to a livable income that that has been written into the CRPD over 12, 13 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay? And it's still outstanding. Why are you allowing the federal government to not do things? Oh, it's provincial jurisdiction. Provincial says, no, we're waiting on federal. I don't care. Passing the buck back and forth, and that's nonpartisan. You got to stop the passing the buck back and forth. Work together, people. Meaning government. Work together. Listen to lived experience. Bring them onto the show. Talk about it. We can have lots of Zoom meetings. We can call them classified to different Zoom meetings. We can do whatever we need to do. We need to bring people together. We can clean up all this BS.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, I know, Neil, you got to go. But before we conclude, some people will say UBI, basic income, whatever it may be. Just, whatever the ideas are, just get people's income up to a livable income. Because right now, people's income, they're not going to make it through the winter in some cases in Ontario. I've seen some really bad situations, and rest in peace, Joe. This is in Ontario, Just Joe. I heard some tragic news today, and it's really heartbreaking to hear that. Apparently Just Joe, he had the Twitter handle, he went missing. Nobody knew where he was for several days. They found him in his van. He was injured decades ago in a car accident, no fault of his own. He was an entrepreneur. He lost his business. He lost his house, lost everything. And he's been living in his van on ODSP, no fault of his own. But the systemic issue is that they wouldn't obviously give him enough money for housing. And so the system has failed him. Just Joe, rest in peace. God bless you, sir. And why I know Just Joe is he used to come on my Twitter space. So it's kind of touches home a bit. So yeah.
Okay.
But I want to thank everyone for listening to our podcast today.
And again, it was only going to be a 5-minute promo, but
it was only supposed to be 5 minutes. But
it was a great segment actually. I hope people really enjoyed it and understand why I wanted to have this, 5-minute promo with you, because I thought, I wonder if Brent's going to understand my purpose of doing this.
And I knew as soon as you said that, I knew this because I had gone through this some testing with a doctor at one time, and he used to do these comparisons with me, and to understand the logics. What is real, Brent? What is real? What is fake? What is real?
Yeah.
And then turn it around the other way, and back and forth. And basically, it's a problem solving of something that can easily be fixed, or something that needs to be changed because it's broken. Yeah. And I want people to understand that's basically what today's segment was. We gave a lot of examples of scenarios. I dived into a lot of stuff about my mom. A lot of people say, "Well, Brent, you talk a lot about your mom." I do, because she was my best friend. She was my mom. And she wasn't my biological mom. I was adopted, and I told a story about that before. I will get into another segment a little bit about that. I know that one segment I kind of really dived into a lot, but I'm gonna just do a little segment regarding that and talk about depression and recession. I'm going to do a little segment regarding what I learned over time. Okay. But I think it'll really open people's eyes a little bit, and about same thing. I might touch about the policies and kind of it might recap a little bit more of what I've kind of been talking about today, but I'll blend it all into that segment.
And again, I mean, this was not a live segment. We had no intention that I didn't know it was going to turn into this long thing. But when I do post this, I do hope that people appreciate it, understand it, and I want to hear some feedback on this one. I want to hear some. I want to hear some comments on this.
Send feedback for us.
Like I said, I was kind of inspired. I wanted to kind of put that out there as kind of like one of those tests, and I wanted to see how you responded to a truth statement and how truth matters and how reality matters. Because it's important, right?
Did I pass?
You passed, yes.
I passed. Yeah.
Yes.
But here, getting to the issue of policies, and that's what it was all about too. It's understanding that policies, how they help people with disabilities, seniors, low-income people, you name it. You can get a disability at any time in your life, and you get added disabilities as we get older, right? No fault of our own, and the government has to recognize that. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean that they have a disability. Okay, well they're not taxpayers. You give money, you give them back to people in their lives. You give them the resources. They're going to put money back into the community. I mean, really, you have to justify. The person has to justify who they are as a citizen in Canada. And you got veterans, like you mentioned, Neil. Veterans who served, lest we forget. Government, lest we forget.
The government's forgotten already.
They have.
Yeah, for decades. For not just yesterday or the day before. They've forgotten for decades now.
I know, and it's shame. They can fix this. They can fix, and they must fix this. Not just for veterans, people with disabilities. Doesn't matter who they are in this country. We're all citizens. Treat us as first-class citizens, not third-class. And
first-class citizens that deserve a pension just because.
That's right, just because.
Because a disability is a significant thing. It's not something that deserves maybe charity. It's not a case of maybe you deserve charity.
Yeah.
It's like this disabled person against this disabled person. This person deserves this, and this person deserves this.
They're pitting them against each other, which is totally wrong. The government's got to stop doing that because it's not working, and they're causing a lot of stuff. I see on social media a lot of that infighting back and forth.
Yeah.
Why? Because the government's created this. Mm-hmm. They created that, and they've got to stop doing that. They give people money rather than people having to say like, I haven't eaten in a whole week. Seriously, that's getting bad. That's getting bad. But I want people to I want people to understand this is not against government, it's about policy. policies got to change. All
Yeah.
clawbacks got to end, effective immediately. All end, and they need to be retroact back.
Mm-hmm.
Government can hand out billions of dollars
Yeah.
to a whole bunch of countries.
Yep.
They can help their citizens.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And show me the money.
Show me the money.
And you want to be the next guest on the show? Reach out to myself. Reach out to Neil. We'll get you scheduled in.
But I am interested to hear your comment on this. I hope
Yep,
people
lots of
understand. I hope people understand the whole point of having this discussion today. But yeah, we have to punch out,
Yeah,
and
thank you.
we'll see everybody tomorrow as well.
Yeah, on the round table. Tune in.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.